Hi friends, today we will start a new chapter which is a steam nozzle. Okay, so what is happening inside the steam nozzle or what is a steam nozzle? The steam nozzle is a passage of varying cross section through which the heat energy of the steam is converted into kinetic energy. Okay, what is the major function? The major function is to produce steam jet with high velocity to drive the steam turbine. Okay, that is the major velocity. What is happening inside the nozzle? In the nozzle, the fluid enters the variable cross sectional area with small velocity and high pressure and leaves it with high velocity and the small pressure. That is the main function of the nozzle. Why we are using the nozzle? Because whenever we want more velocity or high velocity, at that time we are using nozzle. Okay, so we are using the steam and gas turbine in jet engine, in rocket motors, in our flow measurement, and in many other applications we are using our steam nozzle. Okay, so before what is the working principle of the steam nozzle? During the first part of the nozzle, the steam increases its velocity, and later on the steam derives more in the volume than its velocity. Okay, so first of all we have to remember two things. Main first part is what is the mass of the steam flowing through the nozzle, that should be same throughout the process. Okay, then second thing, the variation of the steam pressure in the nozzle depends upon the velocity, specific volume, and the dryness fraction of the steam. Okay, these two things we have to remember always. Then we will discuss about the types of nozzle. Okay, so how many types of nozzles are there? There are three types. One is a convergent nozzle, then divergent nozzle, then convergent and divergent nozzle. So first of all, what is convergent nozzle? In the convergent nozzle, the cross-sectional area decreases continuously from its entrance to exit. That is called convergent nozzle. Okay, then divergent nozzle. What is divergent nozzle? In divergent nozzle, the cross-sectional area of the divergent nozzle increases continuously from its entrance to exit. It is used in case of where the back pressure is less than the critical pressure. Next, I will describe you what is back pressure, what is critical pressure. Okay. Then next, convergent and divergent nozzle. What is convergent and divergent nozzle? Where the cross-sectional area first decreases from its entrance to throat, then increases from the throat to exit. That is called the convergent divergent nozzle. Okay. Now we'll discuss about the velocity of steam flowing through the nozzle. Okay, so consider a unit mass of flow through the mass of steam through the nozzle. See the diagram. If we'll consider only entry and exit point, then we can say that at entry the velocity is v1, at exit velocity is v2. At entry enthalpy is h1 and at exit enthalpy is h2. Simultaneously, as entry pressure is P1 and at exit pressure is P2. At entry volume is V1 and at exit volume is V2, but cross-sectional area of the nozzle which is we are considering in the point of throat. Okay. So if we will consider the fluid at pressure P1 and enthalpy H1 with a low velocity V1 passing through the duct or the passage, then what is happening here? It will fluid will accelerate and it will convert the low velocity to high velocity as well as high pressure to low pressure. This is our basic of our nozzle. Okay, so when it is passing through the nozzle, what is happening? The heat loss, we can say that it is negligible, or we can say that Q equals to 0, as well as our work done is also equals to 0, because inside the nozzle also work done nothing happened. Okay, so W equals to 0 we can say. If we consider the energy equation, then steady flow energy equation, then we can say that h1 plus 1 divided by 1000 into v1 square divided by 2 equals to h2 plus 1 by 1000 v2 square divided by 2 plus losses. If we neglect all the losses, then we can say that 1 by 1000 V2 square divided by 2 minus V1 square divided by 2 is equals to H1 minus H2. H1 minus H2 is, we can say that it is our heat drop or enthalpy drop. Okay. Then if we find out the V2 or velocity at the exit, what will be the formula? It will be square root of V1 square plus 2000 H1 minus H2, or else we can say that V2 equals to square root of V1 square plus 2000 HD. HD means heat drop or enthalpy drop. So suppose we will find out the square root of 2000, then we can say that V2 equals to 44.75 HD square root or 44.75 H1 minus H2 square root. Okay. Now we'll discuss about the mass of the steam discharged through the nozzle. Okay. So first of all, we know that this process is totally isentropic. So according to isentropic condition, we know that the PV to the power n equals to constant. And another thing, we know that inside the nozzle, the heat energy is converted into kinetic energy, which is our V2 square divided by 2, where it is exit. Okay. So we can say that heat drop is equals to total work done. We know that from the Rankine cycle. So heat drop means we know that that is H1 minus H2. Okay. So H1 minus H2 equals to work done during the Rankine cycle. So H1 minus H2, we can say that in heat energy is converted into kinetic energy. So H1 minus H2, we can say that it is equals to V2 square minus V2 square divided by 2. Okay. So here we can put in place of heat drop, we can put V2 square divided by 2 is equals to n by n minus 1 P1 V1 minus P2 V2. Okay. So that is our work done. Heat drop is equals to work done. In place of heat drop, we are putting V2 square divided by 2. Okay, when we will simplify, then it will be V2 square divided by 2 equals to n by n minus 1 P1 V1 minus P2 V2, which is equals to n by n minus 1. If we will take P1 V1 outside, then P1 V1 into 1 minus P2 V2 divided by P1 V1. Okay. Then we know that P1 V1 to the power n equals to P2 V2 to the power n equals to P3 V3 to the power n, like this. Okay. So if we will simplify that one, then it will be V2 by V1 equals to P1 by P2 to the power 1 by n, or else we can say that V2 by V1 equals to P2 by P1 to the power minus 1 by n. Okay. So if we will find out the V2, then V2 equals to V1 into P2 by P1 to the power minus 1 by n. If we will substituting the value of V2 in place of equation 1, then we can say that V2 square divided by 2 equals to n by n minus 1 P1 V1 we are taking common or outside into 1 minus P2 by P1 into P2 by P1 to the power minus 1 by n. Okay. So it will be V2 square divided by 2 equals to n by n minus 1 P1 V1 into 1 minus P2 by P1 to the power n minus 1 divided by n, or else we can say that if we multiply cross multiply 2, then it will be V2 is equals to square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus P2 by P1 to the power n minus 1 divided by n. Okay. So this is the value of V2. Now we have to find out the mass. We know that the volume of the steam flowing per second equals to cross-sectional area of the nozzle into velocity of steam, which is equals to A into capital V2. So our aim is to find out the mass of discharge through the nozzle. Okay. So what is the formula? We know that mass equals to volume of the steam flowing per second divided by volume of 1 kg of steam at pressure T2. Okay. So you can say that M equals to A capital A into capital V2 divided by small v2, which is a specific volume. Okay. So if we'll put the capital V2 value in this equation, then it will be A divided by a small v2, which is a specific volume, into square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus P2 by P1 n minus 1 divided by n, that is our mass. Okay, then if we'll put the value of small v2 from equation 2, then it will be m equals to a divided by v1 into p1 divided by p2 to the power minus 1 by n into 2 into n by n minus 1 into p1 v1 into 1 minus p2 by p1 into n minus 1 divided by n to the power 1 by 2, or total square root. Okay, so m is equals to, we can say that it will be a into 2 into n by n minus 1 p1 v1 into p2 by p1 to the power 2 by n minus p2 by p1 n plus 1 divided by 1 n plus 1 divided by n square root. Okay, so this is our mass of flow discharge. Once again I am saying the formula: m equals to a into 2 into n by n minus 1 p1 v1 square root of p2 by p1 to the power 2 by n minus p2 by p1 to the power n plus 1 divided by n. So this is our formula. Now we will discuss about the critical pressure. Okay, so we know that the mass flow rate is maximum at the throat where the area is minimum. Okay, if we will consider the pressure ratio is p2 by p1 at the throat, then we have to find out the critical pressure. Okay, so if we will take the critical, if we have to find out the critical pressure, then other thing we have to take as constant. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to take the equation from p2 by p1 to the power 2 by n minus p2 by p1 to the power n plus 1 by n, because we have to take derivative of p only. Okay, we have to take the derivative of p2 by p1, where equating with the 0, then we can say that d by d p2 by p1 into p2 by p1 to the power 2 by n minus p2 by p1 to the power n plus 1 by n equals to 0. Okay, so if we will do the derivative, then 2 to the power 2 by n, it will come this side, so 2 by n into p2 by p1 to the power 2 by n minus 1 minus n plus 1 by n into p2 by p1 to the power n plus 1 divided by n minus 1 equals to 0. So we can say that p2 by p1 to the power 2 minus n divided by n equals to n plus 1 divided by n into p2 by p1 1 by n, or we can say that p2 by p1 2 minus n equals to n plus 1 divided by 2 to the power n into p2 by p1, from which we can say that p2 by p1 1 minus n equals to n plus 1 divided by 2 to the power n, or we can say that p2 by p1 equals to 2 by n plus 1 to the power n by n minus 1. Okay, which is p2 by p1 is a critical pressure ratio, which value depends upon the index n. Okay, so we got the critical pressure ratio, which is p2 by p1 equals to 2 by n plus 1 to the power n by n minus 1. That is the critical pressure ratio. Okay, now we have to find out the maximum discharge through the nozzle. How to find out? In place of p2 by p1 in that equation, now find out the mass, we can put the p2 by p1 value, which is 2 by n plus 1 to the power n by n minus 1. Okay, so in place of that, if we will put the value, then we will get m max equals to a into square root of 2 into n by n plus 1 into p1 v1 into 2 by n plus 1 to the power 2n divided by n minus 1. That is our maximum discharge through the nozzle. Okay, I told you about the index because critical pressure ratio depends upon the index value. So for superheated, it will be 0.546, for dry saturated it is 0.578, and for wet steam it is 0.582. When we will do the numerical, at that time I will tell how to put the value of n and how to find out the, if p1 is given, then how to find out the p2 value, if p2 is given, then how to find out the p1 value. Okay, Now we'll discuss one numerical. Okay, in this question, what is given? A convergent divergent nozzle is required to discharge 350 kilogram of steam per hour. The nozzle is supplied with steam at 8.5 bar and 90% dry, and discharges against a back pressure of 0.4 bar. Neglecting the effect of friction, find the throat and exit diameter. Okay, so these are the this is the question, and what are the given data? First of all, P1 is given, which is 8.45 bar with dryness fraction 90%, and P3 is given, which is 0.4 bar. Okay, their dryness fraction is not given, so P2 is not given. So for that we have to find out the P2 value. We know that the steam is initially wet. Okay, so for the wet steam we know that P2 equals to 0.582 into P1. So 0.582 into 8.5 bar, it will be 4.95 bar. So we got P1, P2 and P3 simultaneously. We know our dryness fraction, which is 90%. Then go to the second slide and see the molecular diagram. First of all, you have to how to see the molecular diagram, you know. First of all, you have to find out the point 1, which is the cross section point of 8.5 bar and x equals to 0.9, that is the point 1. Okay, then make a straight line. Then you know that point 3 is at point 3 pressure is 0.4 bar. So where the 0.4 bar will intersect the straight line, that will be point 3. Then point to P2 you already got, which is 4.95 bar. So you can take 4.9 or 4.5, that will be where the intersection point will be there, that is our P2 point. That is a cross section of P2 point. That means from that point you have to get the H1, H2 and H3 value. Okay, so when you will get the H1, H2 and H3 value, then you have to find out the enthalpy drop, entry to the throat and exit to the throat. Okay, so enthalpy drop at point entry is H1 minus H2 and exit is H1 minus H3. So you can get the value 102 at the 102 kg per kg is at the throat, and 456 kilojoule per kg at the exit. And from that the molecular diagram, you also can find out the dryness fraction. Dryness fraction X2 is equals to 0.87 and dryness fraction X3 is 0.772. Now you have to find out the velocity at the throat, which is V2 equals to 44.72 square root of HD, which is our heat drop. Okay, so 44.72 square root of H1 minus H2, you know 102. So you can put the 102 value and you can get the velocity is 452 meter per second. Okay, then next what you have to find out, our aim to find out the what to find out, this is not that throat and find the throat and exit diameter we have to find out. So for that diameter we have to find out, means next we have to find out the mass. Okay, from the mass we can find out the diameter because we know that M equals to A to B2 divided by B2. So for that specific volume you have to find out specific volume formula is B2 equals to X2 into BH2. So 0.87 into specific volume of our steam at the throat. So 0.3785, which is 0.33 meter cube per kg. So if we will consider the mass of continuity or continuity equation, we can find out the area. Okay, from the area we can find out the diameter. So M equals to A to V2 divided by small v2. Okay, what is the value of M in this question? It is given that 350 kg of steam per hour. Okay, So if we have to consider that 350 divided by 3600 is equals to A2 into 452 divided by, which is our velocity value we got from that previous slide. Okay, 452 divided by 0.33 into 10 to the power 4. Okay, which is from last slide. We in the last slide we got the actual volume of the wet steam, 0.33 meter cube per kg. That value we have to put in this equation. Okay, so after that we will get the area equals to 0.71 centimeter square. Always remember the unit. Okay, because 0.33 you have to put into 10 to the power 4. Okay, so the throat diameter will be d2 equals to square, because we know that area, what is the area formula, pi by 4 d square. So we have to find out the d2 means square root of 0.71 into 4 divided by pi. So it will be 9.51 mm if we consider in millimeter. Okay, similarly the velocity at the exit velocity also we have to find. So exit velocity v3 also 44.72 into square root of h1 minus h3, which is 456. We got that value 955 meter per second. Okay, so specific volume of the dry saturated stream at 0.4 bar is 3.993 meter cube per kg. So actual volume we have to find out. Actual volume is v3 into x3 into vs3. So we got 3.11 meter cube per kg. Okay, that is our actual, a small v3. Okay, next we have to find out the mass. Mass is given, we have to find out the area A3. So area A3 is similarly the same formula, m equals to A3 V3 divided by small v3, which is equals to 350 divided by 3600 is equals to A3 into 955 divided by 3.11 into 10 to the power 4. Okay, so now you have to find out the A3 value. A3 value is 3.16 centimeter square, and from that we have to find out the exit diameter, which is d3. Same square root d3 equals to square root of 3.16 into 4 divided by pi, which value is 2.01 centimeter, or we can say that 20.1 millimeter. Okay, I think you got this problem. If any doubt will be there, then please put a message in the inbox. Now we'll discuss about nozzle efficiency. Nozzle efficiency is the ratio of useful heat drop and the isentropic heat drop, which is denoted by K. But sometimes due to friction, its efficiency we can write that useful heat drop divided by actual isentropic heat drop. Okay, so now we'll discuss about this diagram. See it very carefully. Okay, what is happening in this diagram? First of all, you can see point A. You can see point A. Okay, so point A means for the initial pressure P1 we are putting point A. Okay, then second point is point B. We can draw a straight line, because we know that A to B is our isentropic process. So we can say that at B point P pressure is our P2, and at A point pressure is our P1. Simultaneously at A point enthalpy is our H1, and at B point enthalpy is our H2. Okay, we know that our pressure drop happening from A point to B point. This is the work of the nozzle, na? Pressure will decrease and our velocity will increase. Okay, so we can say that the heat drop is equals to H1 minus H2, though it is coming from P1 to P2. That means pressure is decreases, that's why H2 is less and H1 is more. Okay, so we can say that heat drop is our H1 minus H2, which is known as isentropic heat drop. Okay, then in second case we are considering friction. Okay, because you know nozzle means some friction should be there. So for that friction we are considering another point B dash. Okay, due to friction another point B dash we are considering, which is actual. This one is theoretical B point, but actual is B dash. Okay, and always remember when the actual heat drop in the steam will be less than H1 minus H2. Okay, so at that point B dash we can simultaneously put one horizontal line on the AB and put that point at C. So two process we can consider, A to C and C to B. Okay, so we can consider, so total actual heat drop is our H1 minus H3, which is known as useful heat drop. We know that what is our efficiency formula. Our efficiency formula is useful heat drop minus isentropic heat drop. Okay, so we can consider our efficiency is H1 minus H3 dash divided by H1 minus H3. Okay, so this is our efficiency formula. Now we'll discuss about the factors affecting nozzle efficiency. Okay, so what are the factors affecting nozzle efficiency? First one is material of the nozzle, then second one is size and shape of the nozzle, finish of the nozzle, angle of divergence, nature of the fluid and its state, then friction, then fluid velocity, turbulence in the flow passage. These are the factors which is affecting our nozzle efficiency, for which our efficiency is changed from H1 minus H3 dash divided by H1 minus H3, which is actual we can say. Okay, so next question we'll discuss. In this question, what is the question is there, steam expand from 17 bar and 80 degree centigrade superheat to 0.7 bar in a convergent divergent nozzle. Assuming that the expansion is frictionless adiabatic and the steam discharge is 0.25 kg per second, calculate the diameter of the section of the nozzle. Bit 1 at the point where the pressure is 9.5 bar and at the exit. Take Kp of the superheat steam is 2.3 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Okay, so this is the question given. So we know that what is given in P1 is given 17 bar and T1 is given 80 degrees centigrade. Okay, so first of all we have to find out P2 because P2 value is not given. Okay, so according to the superheated steam equation, we know that P2 equals to 0.546 into P1. From that we can in place of P1 we can put the value of 17, which is 9.28 bar we got, which is P2 value. Okay, so this is our P1, we got P1 value and P2 value. Then go to the Mollier chart diagram, get the value of P1, which is intersection of 17 bar and 80 degree temperature, that is the P1 point. From that you can find out H1 and draw a straight line from that point. So you will get P2, you know that P2 value is 9.28 bar and from that you can find out the H2 value. Okay, so if you will consider the case 1, at the point where the pressure is calculate the diameter at the point where the pressure is 9.5 bar. Okay, so first of all we have to find out the heat drop. From that Mollier chart you got H1 and H2 na. From that heat drop is 140 kilojoule per kg. Okay, so temperature of the steam at T2 point, because T2 you got what is 9.28 bar. So at 9.28 bar T2 is 213 degree centigrade. Okay, so if we consider the saturation temperature, because 9.5 bar is given, and at 9.5 bar saturation temperature is Ts equal to 177.69 from the steam table you can get. Okay, so next slide you can go to the next slide. So next we'll find out the value. Okay, so from the steam table we can find out at 9.5 bar Bh2 equals to 0.2042 meter cube per kg. Okay, then specific volume at 9.5 bar and 213 degree we have to find out specific volume V2 equals to Bh2 into T superheated divided by T saturated. Okay, so T superheated means at the 213 degree centigrade and saturated means that 177.69, okay, which we got. So it will be the value will be 0.22 meter cube per kg. That is the V2 value. Okay, next, according to mass of continuity, m equals to a to V2 divided by small v2, from which we can find out the a value. Then we can find out the d value by putting the formula a equals to pi by 4 d square. So d square equals to square root of 4a divided by pi. We can find out the diameter, which value is 11.5 mm. Okay, then we'll go to the exit. For the exit also we have to find out the h3, because p3 is given same at the same line. We can find out the h3. So heat drop equals to h1 minus h3, which value is 600 kilojoule per kg. Okay, and x3 also we got 0.89. So velocity at the exit v3 equals to 44.7772 square root of ht, which value we got 600. So it will be v3 equals to 1095 meter per second. So from the steam table, because we know that p3 equals to 0.7 bar given now, so from the steam table directly we can find out the vs3 2.365. In say first case it was not given, that's why we have taken T superheated and T saturated, because two cases are given in the first case, but in second case directly it is given 0.7 bar. So we can find out the VS3 value 2.365 meter cube per kg. Okay, so specific volume at the exit is V3 equals to x3 into VS3, which value we got is VS3 value we got, and then we can put in that mass continuity equation m equals to a3 v3 divided by v3. From that we can find out the diameter also. Okay, so exit diameter is 24.7. I think all of you understood. In the last slide I put some definitions which will be useful for you for 2 marks questions. Okay, so you go through that definitions. So thank you so much. Hi friends, today we will start a new chapter, which is a steam nozzle. Okay, so what is happening inside the steam nozzle, or what is a steam nozzle? The steam nozzle is a passage of varying cross section through which the heat energy of the steam is converted into kinetic energy. Okay, what is the major function? The major function is to produce steam jet with high velocity to drive the steam turbine. Okay, that is the major velocity. What is happening inside the nozzle? In the nozzle, the fluid enters the variable cross-sectional area with small velocity and high pressure and leaves it with high velocity and the small pressure. That is the main function of the nozzle. Why we are using the nozzle? Because whenever we want more velocity or high velocity, at that time we are using nozzle. Okay, so like we are using the steam and gas turbine, in jet engine, in rocket motors, in flow measurement, and in many other applications we are using our steam nozzle. Okay, so before the what is the working principle of the steam nozzle? During the first part of the nozzle, the steam increases its velocity, and later on the steam derives more in the volume than its velocity. Okay, so first of all we have to remember two things. Main first part is what is the mass of the steam flowing through the nozzle, that should be same throughout the process. Okay, then second thing, the variation of the steam pressure in the nozzle depends upon the velocity, specific volume, and the dryness fraction of the steam. Okay, these two things we have to remember always. Then we will discuss about the types of nozzle. Okay, so how many types of nozzles are there? There are 3 types. One is a convergent nozzle, then divergent nozzle, then convergent and divergent nozzle. So first of all, what is convergent nozzle? In the convergent nozzle, the cross-sectional area decreases continuously from its entrance to exit. That is called convergent nozzle. Okay, then divergent nozzle. What is divergent nozzle?